All right, so 2007's Enchanted is directed by Kevin Lima, written by Bill Kelly. And if you don't know what this film is about, you have the character of Giselle, played by Amy Adams, who starts off in a cartoon fairy tale land. Not sure if it's hand drawn or animated, maybe a little bit of both. But it does remind you heavily of the classic hand drawn type of animation that Disney used to do. But yeah, she starts off in this fairy tale land where you have trolls and evil queens and princes on horseback and talking animals, and she meets the character of Prince Edward, played by James Marsden. His character is absolutely insane and just funny and hilarious, but also really stupid, but you also kind of love him. James Marsden plays him perfectly, which, by the way, Amy Adams as Giselle, absolutely fantastic in this movie as well. But I'll kind of get into some of the acting a little bit later on. But yeah, basically she meets Prince Edward. They fall in love immediately, obviously, because it's a fairy tale land and that's what they do. And I mean, we've seen it in Frozen, we've seen it in pretty much every other princess type of movie. But yeah, Queen Narissa, played by Sarandon, I believe. She is not in love with the idea of them being in love, so she sends Giselle down a well. No, did not mean to rhyme right there, but that's just how it went. Um, and she goes down this well, and when she comes out of a sewer drain and ends up in New York City. But not only is she in New York City, she's no longer a cartoon anymore. She is in live action, and obviously that's when Amy Adams comes in for the live action part. She also lends her voice to the cartoon role as well as the other actors in here. But yeah, she finds out she's in New York. So you have this kind of fish out of water story of a fairy tale character being in a modern New York setting. And then that's when we meet the character of Patrick Dempsey, played by Robert Phil. The character of Robert. Oh my god. The character of Robert Phillip, played by Patrick Dempsey. You know what I meant in the beginning. But yeah, we meet his character. He's a businessman. I believe he's a lawyer, actually. I'm not completely sure. I think he might be a lawyer of some sort. But yeah, we also have his girlfriend, Idina Menzel, who plays Nancy Tremaine. And then, yeah, there we go. Rachel Covey, who plays Morgan Phillip, the daughter there. Julie Andrews is actually the narrator towards the beginning of the film, and I believe towards the end as well. And then you have Timothy Spall, Scabbers himself, the guy who was in Harry Potter as kind of the second-hand man to Voldemort. He plays Nathaniel. There was one more cast member that I wanted to mention, but I didn't write down. There was somebody who actually voiced the character, and forgive me for forgetting what the character's name is, but the chipmunk in the movie, very funny character. Very much liked him. There was an actor that actually voiced the character at one point, but then when it comes into the live action realm, it's a chipmunk, so it doesn't talk anymore. But yeah, this is a really fun movie. I remember seeing this in the theater with my mom back when it came out, and these are the types of movies slash shows that you wouldn't really, especially as a guy back, not even that long ago. This is the kind of movie that you wouldn't really tell your friends you watched. Um, as a kid, I was into stuff like Hannah Montana and Camp Rock and Wizards. Well, Wizards isn't like too girly or anything really, but like a lot of the Disney Channel stuff kind of got associated with being girly, and if guys watched it, it was kind of gay, and these types of movies, same thing. But I did like these types of movies for the most part. I mean, I wouldn't say I loved them. Even as a kid, I wouldn't say I had a favorite princess movie. I mean, now would I even say I do? Not really. I mean, Beauty and the Beast is pretty good, but um, I mean, it's these types of movies as a kid I wasn't really like allowed to talk about how I liked, but I do like this movie. Um, that being said, watching it all these years later, there's things that I noticed that I didn't notice as a kid. The biggest thing for me is that the climax of the film, and I'm gonna spoil a little bit here, but hey, it's been out since 2007, so Um, you have Queen Narissa when she comes into the live action realm and she turns into a dragon. I mean, obviously the VFX for 2007, they're not horrible. They hold up pretty well, but they also kind of do look like PS2 graphics. Um, and that final battle, it just should have felt a lot more intense and scary and unbeatable, but it's kind of like a Ryan George pitch meeting moment. It was super easy, barely an inconvenience. They dealt with that pretty fucking quick. Sorry for swearing. I know it's a kids movie, but oh well. That's just my channel at this point. Um, but like they really dealt with that final battle super quickly. It got over in like, I mean, granted we had the whole part in there, and if you've seen it, you know, but the whole part of eating the apple and whatnot, getting poisoned, and then true love's kiss and all that stuff. Like we have that element in there, but when it comes to like an actual final battle, it only lasted not even like 5 minutes. So yeah, I don't know. And part of me thinks it's just because of the VFX budget. I can't imagine they put a whole lot of money into this, and the most amount of money they probably put into it was for the cartoon stuff. I don't know how much that actually costs, so maybe it's not that bad, but I'd imagine it does take a lot of time and work to actually make that type of stuff. So for the time, I would say the VFX actually do hold up in this movie. But yeah, not too bad on that note. Um, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints about this one. The only thing I'd really say is that this movie at this point in my life, you know, at this age, just really isn't for me. But I am really curious to see what they do with the sequel, Disenchanted, which, I mean, I'm guessing you can probably see why I'm reviewing this is because I want to watch that and review it. It's a shame I can't watch that one in theaters. Go and watch that with my mom like we did with the first one, but hey, I believe she's already watched it. I don't know if I heard how she felt about it, but from the trailer alone, it didn't look very good to me. I didn't really like where they were taking the story, but it does have Maya Rudolph and a few other actors that I do quite like, so I'm excited to check that out. But yeah, let me see here if I have any other notes. Uh, like I said before, I like the fish out of water stuff. It's not completely original. It's been done before in a lot of other movies and shows, but this movie makes it unique by kind of putting that twist on it of, oh, this is a fairy tale character coming into live action. That's something that's actually been done recently with another Disney Plus film. Well, I guess the original Enchanted wasn't a Disney Plus film, but it was called Godmother, I believe. Don't ask me who the main actress was because I cannot remember her name at the moment, but I think it's like Jillian something. I could be wrong. But she was really funny in it, but it almost feels like that movie could have been set in the same universe. Um, but yeah, it kind of that feels like a movie that kind of sprawled from this movie being made, and then there were other movies that I was thinking about too. You know, like the whole Space Jam thing. Space Jam came before this movie, but it's kind of like a similar thing there. And then especially in the second Space Jam movie, there's elements where they kind of do what they were doing in this movie, um, where you know the cartoon characters were coming into the real world. Um, Trying to think if there was something else. Oh, the musical aspects. I feel like I've seen a few musicals within the past few years that when people break out into song, other people around them actually address it and are like, "Why are you singing? What's going on?" There's been a few movies that I've seen. I can't name any of them, but I know that I've seen a few since this movie came out that have done a similar thing. Um, so I feel like from this movie, like there's a lot of different ideas that kind of maybe people took from it, and I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to kind of look at there. This maybe paved the way for some other types of movies, especially other Disney movies, to be made with that Godmothered one, which I didn't really care for too much, but. Yeah, let me see here. I think I already said this, but every actor in here does a really great job. Um, yeah, let me see. Amy Adams, fantastic in this movie. I think she absolutely kills it. I mean, she's a great actress in general. I don't think she'd ever do a bad job in any other movie, but it'd be hard for me to see any other actor take her place as Giselle in this movie. So, um, Susan Sarandon, sorry, I can barely read my own handwriting here, but she does a really good job as Queen Narissa. Um, I will say you don't see a whole lot of her in the live action. You mainly see more of her in the cartoon form. But when she does come into the live action, especially as a kid, I remember being like, "Oh shit, here she comes." It was a big deal. So yeah, I mean, she does a really great job in here. She isn't necessarily a standout to me in the end. Um, I don't know when you pair it up with so many other fantastic villains that we've gotten just from Disney in general, like these Disney animated movies and whatnot. Does she necessarily stand out above the rest? No, because honestly, what are they doing? I mean, she has the poison apple aspect. They're taking elements from other fairy tales and whatnot, which I can appreciate, but at the same time, at times it's hard, especially for a villain, to make you really care about the villain or be interested in it when it's just kind of copying what they've done before. With the character of Giselle, you have the whole movie to like make her different from any other like princess, I guess you could say, Disney princess. But when it comes to the villain, I mean, like a lot of these types of movies, the villain's kind of weak. So, but yeah, James Marsden, great in this movie as well. Patrick Dempsey, I think, does a really great job. Timothy Spall, I think, has a standout performance in this movie. Idina Menzel kind of gets put pushed back to the just being the girlfriend role of the movie. That's pretty much all she is in the movie, which is crazy because in a way it almost feels like Idina Menzel, why is she not like one of the stars of this movie? Why is she not playing like the evil queen or something like that? I know that really wouldn't work out in terms of age, but you know, you could age her up or whatnot. Um, but yeah, she's a huge actress, especially now. It's crazy that she kind of just got pushed back to that role. I feel like even before this movie, she was really big on Broadway with shows like Wicked and whatnot. So, I mean, she's still great in the movie, but she kind of gets pushed to the background. Rachel Covey, I mean, it's a kid actor, so she does good for being a kid actor. Um, she did not return for the role in Disenchanted. However, I believe she did premiere. Can't talk. Believe she did attend the premiere, so there's no beef there, so that's good. Um, then I can't really say a whole lot about Julie Andrews because she's just the narrator, but I mean, Julie Andrews is fantastic, obviously. And then the actor, whoever voiced oh, Pip, the, excuse me, Pip the chipmunk or Pip the squirrel or whatever it is, um, Pip, he was cool. I liked Pip, even though he didn't talk for most of the movie because he was in the live action form. Like I said, he wasn't talking in the live action form, only in the cartoon form. He was still like very animated. He was basically doing charades to try to get things across to people, and especially with Prince Edward, he was just so bad at guessing what he was trying to get across. He's such an idiot in this movie, but you kind of gotta love him at times. Um, but yeah, overall, pretty great movie. If you haven't seen it, hopefully I didn't give too much away. I don't really think I did. Maybe some stuff about the end there, but I think I left a lot of some good stuff in there for you to be surprised by and enjoy. But overall, very good movie. And for those of you who don't know, over the last couple of videos, I've been talking about this new ranking system I have, and some of these rankings don't quite make sense with the movie that came out in 2007, but just bear with me. I'm going to get you through all of the rankings and just kind of give you a brief explanation of them, and then I will tell you where I rank this movie. Not going to do this in every video, just over the next handful of videos or so, just until people can kind of get used to it. Excuse me. But yeah, let's start with the top, which is Leave Your House Immediately. I mean, when it comes to a streaming movie, you can't really leave your house, but it has the same effect. Turn on your TV immediately, watch this immediately. So I have Leave Your House Immediately, which is a very rare tier of me to use. I won't be using this very often, so if I use it, you know I mean it. Uh, Tier below that is Weekend Plans, so watch it opening weekend, or if it's on streaming, watch it the first weekend it's out or whatever. Don't rush to watch it. Don't be the first person to watch it. Um, but check it out when it hits streaming or whatever, or hits the theaters. But yeah, tier below that, avoid the crowds. Wait a couple weeks. Maybe get the theater yourself. Go on a weekday. It's nice to get the theater yourself. I won't lie. Nobody else around you. Don't have to worry about them making noise. Can just kind of enjoy the movie. Be as loud as you want. Very much enjoy it, which I don't experience very often because I see a lot of movies opening day. But yeah, avoid the crowds. That's something I'm gonna say pretty often with a lot of movies. I won't lie. Um, Excuse me. But yeah, when it comes to like a streaming movie or whatever, and this applies for shows too. But when it comes to like anything on streaming, it's just like, oh yeah, you can wait a couple weeks, add it to your list, wait, get it. Oh my god, I can't talk right now. It's getting late. Bear with me, but get to it when you get a second. But yeah, let's just keep going. Tier below that, rent it, pay to watch it at home. So if it's on a streaming service, and maybe if you don't have the streaming service, pay for the streaming service to watch it. Or if it's on VOD or whatever it might be. But yeah, tier below that, stream it. If it's on a streaming service you already own, then check it out, add it to your list. But don't go out of your way to buy a streaming service you don't have to watch it. Tier below that is last week's leftovers, which my description here is might not be completely horrible, but you might regret it later. So you might turn this movie on and you'd be like, hey, this might be fun. You watch it afterwards, you're like, yeah, I regret watching that, but hey, that was my decision. Tier below that is throw it in the trash. Those leftovers have turned. This is the point when you turn on the movie, you get finished with it, and you're actually mad for the rest of the night, and it makes you not want to watch movies for a little while. But yeah, tier below that is throw it in the trash and set it on fire. Pretty much as bad as it gets. I don't think it'll ever get as bad as that with any movie I review, but we'll see. And for that reason, I had to put a tier below that as well, which is a Chernobyl level disaster. And my description for that is, how did this get made? If you like this, seek medical attention. That one's probably going to be just as rare, if not more, than the Leave Your House Immediately tier. So, yeah, might not get used often, but again, we shall see. As for 2007's Enchanted, and sorry for that taking so long for me to get through. I mean, it's been out since 2007. If you want to watch it, it's on Disney Plus, or you can pay to watch it on, if you rent it or whatnot. But for the most part, for the sake of the tier list and how I feel about the movie, it would kind of be like an avoid the crowds type of movie for me. Wait a couple weeks until people, and this is my perspective of like when this movie came out in the theater. Wait a couple weeks to watch it. Go when it's not super crowded. Enjoy yourself at the movie. Maybe go on a weekday. Maybe go earlier in the day as well, because prices are cheaper too. So yeah, I mean, depending on the day you go, you can get like a $5 ticket or some shit like that. I think the theater I go to has maybe $3 to $5 tickets on Thursday or something like that. But yeah, this movie's already out, so obviously you can go stream it or watch it if you pay for it on VOD or whatever it might be. So yeah, I mean, it would make more sense to say rent it, but I'm saying you could pay for it, and it wouldn't be a bad decision. And also, if you are a parent, this is a very good movie for you to watch with your children. There is some humor that is a little suggestive, but depending on the age of your child, it'll probably fly right over their heads. And they don't go too heavy-handed with it either. But there are some kind of suggestive scenes involving a naked woman, but she's wrapped up in a towel, but also, I don't know. But yeah. overall, pretty good movie. I'd recommend it. And if you're wanting to watch Disenchanted, I'd definitely say watch this movie before. But yeah, there's my review for 2007's Enchanted. Have you seen it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? I would love to know. I definitely very much like this movie. But it's not like one of my favorites of all time. Probably not even in my top like 50. But yeah, have you not seen it? Are you going to watch it anytime soon? Are you going to watch it before you watch Disenchanted? Do you have any interest in watching Disenchanted? Why or why not? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. Comment down below with really anything you want. I'd just love to see the engagement and chat with you. Chat with you guys down below. I respond to pretty much every comment. So thank you all for watching once again. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will see you in the next one.